to his teammates and to that city for all that it did for him. And instead, I saw cold-blooded. I saw emotionless. I saw zero remorse. I saw a shrug of an attitude that basically said those people should have been grateful for what I did for them for 7 years because they were lucky to have me. That just blew me away because I thought LeBron had better PR sense than that. And to admit that, no, I didn't even call Dan Gilbert. I didn't even give him the courtesy of a call here. And it struck me that deep down, I think in the end, he had zero love for the city of Cleveland. That truly, when he wore the cowboy hat, the cowboy paraphernalia to the Browns opener, that was genuine. And the Yankee hat to the Yankees playoff game, that was real LeBron. I think you saw the real LeBron.
And I honestly, and I agree with everything you said, I honestly don't think that it could have gone any worse. I mean, you put him in that situation. I don't think he was emotionless because I think once he sat down in that chair and was staring across at Jim Gray, I think he realized what a mistake he was making right there because he knew what he was going to say. I mean, he wasn't sitting there ad-libbing on the fly. He knew he was going to say, look, I gave Cleveland everything. I gave Cleveland 7 years. I put 20,000 fans in the seats. I did all this stuff for Cleveland. To me, that was the biggest mistake of it all. You know, making himself out to be, a bigger than the city, making himself to be the story. I mean, if you were LeBron James and you know you're going to scorch that earth going out of town, there's no way they're not going to hate you. But the best thing you can do is mitigate it a little bit by saying, you guys were the best. You gave me so much. You helped me become a man.
I didn't get 1 second of what you're saying.
Nothing. Not a single piece of it. And the worst part, it's because this was all orchestrated. Who is not sitting in his ear? What publicist is not telling him, listen, if you're going to go out, you're going to go out. But you might as well go out and leave some positive stuff on the table. He didn't do any of that. And to me, that was the most disappointing part of it all.
Conjecture beforehand that he would script out some sort of apology to Cleveland, and obviously he had no notes the way Tiger did in his apology session. And
they gave him every opportunity to do it. ESPN gave him every chance. The interviewers gave every chance to say something nice about Cleveland. He didn't take the bait.
For over an hour.
Let me ask you this, and I'm sort of directing it more at Skip because he's talked so much about it. If
he's on the record on this a little bit.
If LeBron had gone out there and cried, would you actually have believed him? Because I don't think you would have believed him. Even if it was genuine, I don't think you would have sat here today and said, I believe that was genuine.
I don't know. I'd have to watch it. I'd have to see it. You can see crocodile tears and you can see genuine tears.
Yeah, but you don't always know the difference.
Well, in the end...
maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's not tearful about it and is sad. I'm not saying he gave emotion that you guys haven't dead honest the emotion he gave, but if he did that, a lot of people would have been sitting here today saying that was fake, it wasn't real, he should have been genuine.
For 5 years, I criticized him for even living in Akron versus Cleveland. Like, why didn't you sort of join your fans and live downtown Cleveland? He's an Akron guy. He's not a Cleveland guy. He lives on planet LeBron. He is LeBron and they're Cleveland. That was, and again, everybody ripped me for talking about the Yankee hat at the Cleveland Yankee playoff game. I think that was right from the heart. I think he was saying, he's distancing himself from the city of Cleveland.
Let's talk about Dan Gilbert, and we touched on this a little bit. He made it very clear in a very long statement and open letter to fans what he thought of LeBron's decision. Here's just one small part of it. Gilbert said this was announced with a several-day narcissistic self-promotional buildup, culminating with a national TV special of his decision, unlike anything we've ever witnessed in the history of sports and probably the history of entertainment. What do you make of this?
I have some mixed emotions here because obviously I agree with a lot of his points, Chris, because I've been making the same points for 5 years, and especially the point that people covered up for this guy for too long and that he finally got exposed. But much of that rant last night spilled over into that knee-jerk fan reaction rant, that angry fan rant. The whole idea of I guarantee a championship before they win one in Miami, and he'll take the curse with him to Miami. It almost came off like he was making LeBron look like the bigger man than
a little
than
less classy.
Yeah, there was no class there. And I also thought it came off in the end as irresponsible because God help him if he prompts a fan to take any action that the owner would forever regret. But I have some sympathy for Dan Gilbert, but in the end, not a great amount because, as you well know, this is the guy who needs to take some responsibility for making it much easier for LeBron to go to Miami because he seized control of that franchise at the end of the year, a la Jerry Jones. He ran off one of the top GMs in basketball in Danny Ferry. He went out and tried to hire Tom Izzo, his personal hero of Michigan State fame, to come and coach potentially LeBron James. That's crackpot stuff. That's as over the edge as part of this rant was. So in the end, I can't say go Dan go, because he went south already before last night.
My biggest problem with the entire statement was all the stuff he was calling LeBron, narcissistic, self-indulgent, whatever he was saying in that statement. Gilbert contributed to that. I mean, he was enabling this guy for 7 years. I mean, he let this guy run the organization. His friends came in and out of the locker room, had carte blanche in that entire organization. So Gilbert was the one enabling this guy, you know, making him into the, you know, media monster that he is right now. But, you know, I agree with some of the things you said there, too. Like, I mean, he's kind of a guy that, I mean, he's channeling the fan anger to a certain degree. He's trying to get the fans to devote their anger at LeBron and take a little bit of the pressure off himself there. Say, look, you know, I built this team. I paid $100 million for this payroll. And LeBron just abandoned us, folks. He just walked away and left our town behind. But we're going to rebuild this thing. We're going to get it right, even despite LeBron, in spite of LeBron. I mean, I understand the anger and I understand where he's coming from. And I'm with you, though. I mean, if the fact that he put this out there so quickly, and he's having a news conference, I'm told, later today to add even more to this, I just think that he could have handled it a little better. Maybe slept on it for the night and then put out some kind of statement like that.
Now the question becomes, how much of this was premeditated just to sort of rally the fans around him? I don't know. It came so fast and so furious that I know from my personal experience in those emotional moments when you sit at the keyboard, you say, I've got this 24-hour rule, like, no, wait, just wait.
And I had a source that told me that this Gilbert statement here was cleaned up by PR people. This was something that was looked at first.
That's funny.
I mean, the fact that this was looked at before and it still came out like this, I want to see the first draft.
And always interesting when you see an owner talk about loyalty from somebody, knowing that owners oftentimes are not loyal to their players. The third thing we want to get to, Gilbert was talking to the Associated Press, and he told them that LeBron James quit in the playoffs. And this was the quote: he quit not just in Game 5, but in Games 2, 4, and 6. Watch the tape. The Boston series was unlike anything in the history of sports for a superstar. Does Dan Gilbert have a point?
He definitely has a point about Game 5, and I'll let him use the Q word there, the quit word, which I don't love, but it works on Game 5 because I think in the fourth quarter, LeBron looked at the handwriting all over the stadium walls and said, we got no shot here, and I give up, because that was the 32-point game. I'll give him the overall view of the Boston series was unlike anything in the history of sports for a superstar because it was a colossal disaster for Prince James. But I just thought in the end, instead of quitting, I just thought LeBron just crumbled under the pressure and the expectations and in, what, 5 out of 6 games, because clearly only in Game 3, when he got mad at the media portrayal of him as soft over the continuing my elbow hurts syndrome, that was the only game that he went off in. And in the big picture, Prince James failed spectacularly in that series.
You know, what scares me about this quote is that, or this statement, is that I feel this might be the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you know, how many dirty little secrets does Dan Gilbert know about LeBron? We've all heard all sorts of rumors about LeBron, his family members, whatnot. I wonder if this is the opening salvo. If Dan Gilbert's putting something out there where he's saying, all right, you know, you left us, no loyalty here. I'm going to slowly leak this stuff out and make it seep into the news cycle and make your precious reputation, your precious image, your precious brand. I'm going to tarnish it, and I'm going to do my very best to destroy it by leaking all your dirty little secrets. 7 years is a long time, and nobody's perfect. And everything LeBron did that was negative, you better believe Dan Gilbert has some information about. I wonder what his next move is, whether he has a press conference that says, here's something else that LeBron did. Guess what LeBron did on this time? Not just quitting, but off-the-court stuff, personal stuff, whether LeBron was drunk at one point or doing something inappropriate. I mean, I wonder if these stories start to come out.
You don't know that he was drunk.
No, I don't know. I'm throwing, you know, stuff like that out there. I'm saying, like, if he knows inside information, dirty little secrets, I wonder if now he starts leaking that stuff out.
And if he does launch any sort of campaign here, then will the king respond? Will he take gloves off and fire back?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
It'll be interesting, though, because sometimes when you start doing that, the public opinion quickly sways to the other guy who feels like he's being taken advantage of in some way. That's going to do it for First Down. We obviously have a lot more to talk about, and we are talking, as mentioned, LeBron.